Get started. Call the meeting to order. Roll call, please. Here.
Here. Here. Here.
As always, we'll start with invocation by Mr. Gene Goodsky. Miigwech Jean. For approval of the agenda, any additions?
No additions or deletions?
Hold on, we'll wait for G.
Okay, Miigwech Jean. Approval of the agenda. Move to approve by Brandon. Is there a second? Ray? Seconded by Ray. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Silent? Motion carried. Approval of minutes held September 6th at Lake Vermilion.
Assuming everybody's looked at them ahead of time and they're ready, so
Yep.
I'll move.
Motion to approve made by Ray. Is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by Travis. All in favor signify by saying aye. Opposed? Silent? Motion carried.
Okay. Introduction of new staff.
Good morning. We have
Morning,
Adam
Donna.
Falk. He's a chemical dependency coordinator. And Janelle Smith.
Janelle?
Can hear you. Oh, family support coordinator.
Thank you, Donna. Welcome.
Yep, I think that's it. Next, first on the agenda, we have James Varichak, Nett Lake School for Nett Lake School operating referendum and a lease agreement for the youth services.
Here, Mr. Varichak.
I just have a question for the council, and maybe Ray can answer it better than most, but I was just wondering if I need to exclude myself from these votes or things, because I'm the school board chairman, so I don't know if that would be a conflict of interest on that end or our end, so. Okay, so I'll exclude myself. Yep.
Which, Brandon?
I see him on the agenda. I'm excited to be here.
Welcome.
Now that I've done that, Didn't take long, did it?
Oh, thank you. That'll make a difference. I won't have to talk so loud. The board has made a decision to go for the maximum amount allowed by law. We're very fortunate, I guess, in a way that we get quite a bit of state aid due to we're property poor in the district. So what we're asking this council to do is support our efforts on behalf of our children to keep the school viable. So I'll answer any questions that you may have. I've given you a copy of an informational sheet, a little bit about the school, and then also a copy of the resolution that we ask that you support. One thing I do want to mention, even though the numbers are on this sheet of paper, they're still fluid numbers. The board still has the opportunity to change some of these numbers as far as the actual amount and so forth. Our final levy will not be approved until December 15th. And there's many moving parts in the school budget, and so it'll keep moving around a little bit, but it shouldn't change too much from this information. So I'll entertain any questions that you may have.
To start out by saying congratulations as the superintendent for Nett Lake School. You got the best job in the world.
It's gone very well, I have to be honest. It's going very well.
And you know I know that because
Yeah.
I did it for 9 years, but you have the privilege of working with some great kids. So thank you for being here. And, I understand the operating levies, and it helps improve, enhance the budget for the school. And it's a levy that you levy against the taxpayers, and the levy ratio is, as we talked earlier, is very, very low.
Yes.
So our taxpayers don't, those of us that pay property taxes in the district pay a very low rate, and that is in turn subsidized by a large percentage. I think at one time it was for $1 of levy, you got like, I think that was 4%, so it was like, well, 40 cents would get you $100.
Yeah.
40-cent levy. So I don't know if it's still that.
It's now tiered now on different dollar amounts, so it varies all the way through. So that's part of the fluid part of the budget.
Okay. But it's a good way for a district to get the needed funds to operate programs for students, and I think it's done often in school districts, and something I would support. And if there's no other questions from the rest of the council, I'll move to approve going through the operating levy process.
No other questions? There's a motion by Ray to approve proceeding with the operating referendum, seconded by Dave. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, silent, motion carried. That was easy.
Oh, thank you so much. And on behalf of our students, I thank you.
Yes.
I think it's very important that we keep our school as viable as
Yep.
possible, and maintaining the building and programs is vital for that. Yes. I have to grab one more sheet of paper. Excuse me.
Okay.
Maybe another thing you can fill the council in and the people that are here is the strides that were made with the test scores and stuff last year.
This is in our packet too.
What Mr. Brenner is talking about is last year, in the state of Minnesota, all students are required to take the MCA, Minnesota Comprehensive Assessments, in reading, math, and in science. Excuse me, and it's grades 3 through 8th grade for reading and math. Sciences vary throughout the time, and then there's a reading and math 10th and 11th grade. But because we're a pre-K 6 building, we only took the 3rd, 4th, 5th, and 6th score reading and math and 5th grade science. And I'm excited to say that the Nett Lake students were either number 1 or number 2 in the state for the growth that they showed on their MCAs last year.
Wonderful.
Yes,
Great job.
it's fantastic. And I know the staff is excited, the students are excited, and the parents should be excited as well. So that's great news.
That is great news. That's
Yep.
good to hear.
Very good. So the next on the agenda, we had Mr. Strong come to our school board meeting in August, asking if we could reconsider, if the board would reconsider the lease costs for the Boys and Girls Club. Previously, or up to this point, it's been $3 per square foot for the cost. That had been in place for many, many years, and he wanted us to just reconsider it. At our last board meeting, the board agreed to lower the cost, and what I've given you is the highlighted things that have changed on the agreement. On page 1, just the date, this would go into effect, if you approve this would go into effect on October 2nd. Section 1 had the biggest changes in it, and I just want to draw your attention to section 1. The Boys and Girls Club, 10,905 square feet at $2 a square foot, located in a portion of the Nett Lake School depicted on the attached Exhibit A drawing. The cost per square foot will increase to $3 per square foot on October 1st, 2018, unless a new agreement has been reached upon. So what the school board has done on behalf of our children, again, was to reduce the cost by $1 per square foot for 1 calendar year. And then it has to be revisited, or it'll automatically go back to $3. And the 3 other changes that we have on here are just dates, and if you go to the second page on the top, that new dollar amount reflects the $2 instead of the $3. And those are the only changes that are on the agreement. I don't know if Corey, if you have anything else that you would like to add at this time, I don't know.
No, the one thing I just did is I went up there just to see if we could reduce those costs, the expenses. That would help our youth centers. And
I want to thank the board for that, the school board, because we are looking at our budgets this year, and they are very tight. And for them to take a cost reduction on that square footage amount from $1 is huge for us. So I would like to say thank you.
All right, I'll convey it at the next meeting.
Yeah, I also thank you and the board for taking this action and presenting this to us. And I just want to be clear that it's not automatically, well, it will automatically go to $3
Unless,
next year, but we still have, I mean, if we're in a tough situation next year, we'll probably
revisit
come
us.
to you again. Yeah.
Sure.
So
But-
again, thanks.
This is one thing that the board did want, though. They did want it to end after 1 calendar year and just give you time to restructure or do what you need to do and then revisit it at that time. That's what they were looking for.
Met with the Bois Forte Youth Center. Moved by Trav. Is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by Ray. All in favor signify by saying aye. Opposed? Silent?
Abstain, silent.
Motion carried.
That's
Thank
all I
you.
have. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr.
And if you
Varichak.
ever need anything, give me a holler.
We sure will.
All right, thank you so much.
Language. Keep up the good work.
Thank you.
next we have Billy with the 2018 Federal Head Start Grant.
Good morning, Billy.
Good morning. This is our federal Head Start grant. It's year 3 of 5. And the base operating cost is $459,880. With technical and training assistance, that's $10,618 for a total $470,495. And on the non-federal share on top of that brings the total of the grant application to $588,123.
Billy, what is the non-federal share? Could you just go over that briefly? Non-federal share?
It's a 25% match that's required for the federal Head Start grant.
That is from?
The majority of that comes from our state Head Start grant. And we do use part of our MDE pathways funding for it. And then also there's some tribal allocations that go along with it too.
Good job. So
Thank you.
there's grant money coming in to do the match,
Correct.
the match too.
Yeah.
Good.
It meets majority of the match for this grant. The amount of the non-federal share is $117,625.
Billy, I just have a question. I know that enrollment issues in certain age categories with the teacher-student ratio, is that getting better now? I know that there was questions about it.
Yeah, in the past few years, we have been under-enrolled, and so we had to submit for a under-enrollment plan on how we're going to correct it. And this year, in Nett Lake, we have waiting lists, so we are making progress on that. We are seeing increases in our enrollments.
So do you think that we'll be able to have full enrollment then?
I do. Yeah, it's kind of leveling, but it fluctuates, and so we're seeing it coming back up again.
Questions? If not, I'll call for a motion to approve the 2018 federal Head Start grant.
Did the new administration that affect this in any way?
No, we didn't get any reductions.
Oh,
Motion to approve made by Brandon. Is there a second? Second by Dave. All in favor signify by saying aye. Opposed? Silent? Motion carried.
Thank you.
Thank you, Bill.
you know I meant Trump, right? Not
Yeah,
Shavers.
yeah.
Okay.
Okay, next we have Sidra with the ICDBG grant agreement for 2017.
Morning, Sidra.
Good morning. I'm happy to announce that you all know that we were awarded the ICDBG this year to renovate the ENP and the food distribution buildings.
Yes, congratulations.
Thank you. I do have the grant approval notification that they want back in their office by the 25th. So I do need your signature on that. There are no special grant requirements attached to this funding agreement, so it's pretty straightforward, pretty cut and dry.
When will this take place, this renovation?
I already have plans to put the RFP out within the next couple of weeks. So we're looking at, most of the renovation is interior work. So we're looking at we'd like to get that done over the winter.
How much was the grant, Sidra?
The grant from ICDBG from HUD was a total of $555,203. And then we did have a match amount that we did request and put in the budget request for last year, and then it's also in the request for this year.
Wonderful.
One thing I have to ask, maybe Andy, you can answer it, is when we start working on these plans and stuff for this stuff, I know there was a small project, let's see, on the Vermilion end with the New Moon place, and it always seems like we get architects involved when they're really not not needed. So, and I know you worked on this, so should have came up.
On most of these federal grants, and I believe it's true on this one, they require that there be an architect or an engineer, depending on the type of project, so that there's a plan set that has been stamped and approved by a licensed architect. So on this particular project, I know our recommendation is going to be to utilize architectural resources to draw up those plans, as they've worked on that building in the past.
Okay, and you know, I think that's one thing that you know, we should kind of you know, I'd like to see whenever we deal with architects where the federal requirements say it, I'd like to have that, you know, for my own self. And you know, I think we should start approving the architects that work with these things. Another thing we have to watch is the change orders, and we have to look at that process. I know we get burned a lot, and we have on change orders, and so I'd like to see, you know, you can just email it, the federal requirement to have an architect work with it. And it's the only
Sure.
question
And
I had.
Yeah, and any agreement like that with an architect or engineer always has to come to the council for approval.
Did we do that in this one?
Well, not yet, because we didn't have the money,
Okay.
but that'll be part of the process going forward.
Okay.
Is we'll have to have an architectural services agreement. So that'll probably come back, I would assume, at the next council meeting.
Yep. Don, you have a question?
I can answer that question. An architectural service is considered a professional service, and 3 bids are not required. That doesn't mean that we couldn't put out for bids for that. It's just that we are very limited in our choices nearby. So I think that if we were to get an architect anywhere further out, say from the cities or from North Dakota or wherever, would include some travel fees and, you know, stuff like that. So it would potentially raise the price of architectural services. We do try to spread the work amongst the architects and the different SEH, ARI, who else do we have? DSGW. So we do try to spread the work around, so we don't only choose one person or a firm.
I think, go ahead, Andy.
Well, and it has been spread around. The housing project, for example, is CRBPS. So there's about 4 firms in northeastern Minnesota that we've worked with in the past.
I think that's something we could look at, though, with this project as we go along. So, thank you, Don. No other questions? Moved by Ray to approve the agreement with for the 2017 ICDBG funding in the amount of $555,203. Is there a second? Seconded by Dave. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Silent? Motion carried.
Thank you.
Okay,
Thank you, Sidra.
Next, we have Barb with a resolution on the recreation lease for Sharon Allan.
Good morning, Barb.
Morning.
I have a recreational lease for Sharon, Allan, and Jessica and Nathan Schroeder. It is on Lot 13, Block 2 on Lake Vermilion. And they have purchased a cabin. This is one of the files that was left from a previous years. She actually purchased the cabin about 8 years ago, and it has been without a lease since then.
And you've discussed this with Sharon?
Yes.
Okay.
I'll move.
Move to approve, made by Ray. Recreational lease for Sharon Allen. Is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by Travis. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, silent, motion carried.
Thank you.
Barb.
Nothing else on the agenda?
Okay, motion to adjourn?
Move.
By Brandon, is there a second? Seconded by Ray. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, silent, motion carried. Thank you, everybody.